Okay, raise your hand if you knew Black Flag was releasing an album this year. That's what I thought, or hell, at least that's what it feels like. I tried searching the web for other reviews on this album and practically no one has touched it. It has a current Metacritic score of can't fucking be asked. But god damn it, I love Black Flag, and even if this album isn't setting the world on fire, I'm gonna give him the fair shake that a seminal founding member of the 80s hardcore scene deserves. Also, I was kinda backed into a corner this time. The only other notable releases this week were from Avril Lavigne, Stryper, and Scott fucking Stapp. Dear God, if Nickelback had released an album this week, they would have manifested as the Four Horsemen of the Suckopolypse. I wasn't quite sure what to expect on this album. The only two Black Flag alums on this outing are Greg Ginn, of course, it's his freaking band, and Ron Reyes, vocalist from the Jealous Again days. I'm a big fan of that EP though, so I figured it'd be nice to hear Reyes shrieking his way through the lyrics, again. Besides, Black Flag goes through lineups the way Axl Rose goes through cheeseburgers. A new rhythm section doesn't bother me. What does bother me, though, is the fact that I can barely hear the rhythm section. The mixing on this album is really bad. I mean, I get it, it's Black Flag. It's not supposed to sound like Foo Fighters or fucking Journey. Lo-fi is what we want to hear out of this band, but I listened to both the iTunes and Spotify versions of this release on both my 5.1 surround setup and a decent pair of headphones, and this album sounds like random sections of it were recorded underwater while someone's kid held a pillow over the mic. This isn't really lo-fi as much as it is Wi-Fi. I mean, the original album sounding like they were being recorded in a trash can were fine because they were pretty close to being actually recorded in a trash can. But in an age where any jagoff can scrounge up copies of Logic and Pro Tools, there's not much excuse for an album sounding this fucking sloppy. It sucks that the mixing is so bad too, because the instrumentation on this album certainly isn't. Gregory Moore and Dave Klein do a pretty good job behind their instruments when I can actually make them out, and Ginn hasn't lost his touch from a technical standpoint. His shredding still possesses that nice shrieky quality to it, and he's still pretty damn good at soloing, even if it could be argued that Ginn's solo style is, how someone else once put it, just hitting any note. But this album does spend a lot of time devoted to some pretty mediocre mid-tempo jams. Not to a Rollins-era degree, but it doesn't fly off the handle quite as well as most of Black Flag's previous work, and Reyes' vocals don't do much to help either. Don't get me wrong, they aren't necessarily bad, his singing is competent, but he just doesn't have quite the power and intensity to push the album over the top these days, and a Black Flag record that lacks power and intensity in any area is a big uh-oh. I don't know though, despite its faults, I didn't really dislike this album. It's competently played, and you can tell that a lot of passion went into the project. It just doesn't have that punch-in-the-stomach blast that a Black Flag album really needs, and at 42 minutes long, it really starts to feel its length after a while. At the end of the day, it's a Black Flag album that doesn't really sound like a Black Flag album. While I was listening to it, I couldn't help but think of all the other bands who were doing hardcore better than this. Bands like Touche Amore, Defeater, Off. Hell, Off sounds more like Black Flag than Black Flag does. If you're curious, it might be worth checking out, but it certainly won't make you want to spray paint the walls or have a nervous breakdown or throw a TV party, etc., etc. And if you're new to the band and are looking for a place to start, do yourself a favor and don't start here. Pick up the Jealous Again EP. It's shorter, it's louder, and Reyes kicks much more ass on it. What the gets 3 black bars out of 5.
Where's the Red Album episode?
I'm working on it!